We are just a group of women who subscribe to the passion of fishing. We uplift, encourage, support, restore each other, and we allow the water to bring us peace. We allow the water to bring us food, to sustain us.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. So I gave you a little teaser last week, sharing some memories from my first iCast experience. And we're back down here again, 2023, first year fishing the iCast Cup. And my partner, Janine Blair, is here as my guest today. We're going to talk about our experience. This was Janine's very first tournament experience, so we're going to kind of hear firsthand her side of how that went. And before we get into it, I do want to give a big shout out to Freedom Boat Club because they sponsored us for this and gave us this opportunity to have this experience. So thank you, Freedom Boat Club. Of course, I work for them, and they sponsor my tournament fishing, the Freedom Boat Club of Tennessee. So I really appreciate everything they do to support women in fishing, and women in boating. Janine, they also help you out too, right?
Yes, they do. Yeah, I am a member of the Freedom Boat Club out of Galveston, Texas. That is my home. That is my home marina. Yep.
And so you've done the training, and now you can take ladies out.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Freedom Boat Club is absolutely amazing. It is one of the best things that happened to our group. I am now able, which I wasn't before, to learn how to drive a boat. I've driven a John boat, little clanker, but it was a different experience. I started out on the Tri-Tune, and he was like, "Okay, I think you're all right. You can dock it and everything." So let's go to the offshore boat. That freaked me out. It was so many switches, the trim tab and this and that. If the boat goes this way, do this. But Wes at Freedom Boat Club is absolutely amazing. He was very thorough. He was very patient with me. I took probably 10 to 20 women out so far. Wow. Yes. Just out fishing. And we caught sand trout, flounder, shark.
Nice.
Yes. And it's all because of Freedom Boat Club.
Very cool. Well, thanks again, Freedom Boat Club, and we'll talk a little bit more about your group, Fishanistas. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, let's talk about this tournament experience. So, did you kind of know what to expect, or what were your thoughts?
I was a blank sheet of paper. I can know you remember me reaching out to you. I was like, "Angie, I'm getting cold feet. I don't think I can do it." And you were like, "You got it. We're going to have a blast." And we absolutely did. Bass fishing, because I am a saltwater girl, it's quite different. It's quite different because you actually have to work it. You guys are so talked about because there is a lot of work in bass fishing, things that I didn't know. I mean, I watched you and watched how you hook certain things and watching your wrist, and it was a learning experience. Yeah. It was definitely, even though I caught one, I caught a baby, but we had to let it go.
We got a picture of it.
We got a picture.
We got proof.
Mm-hmm. But everything that you told me to do, I did, and it worked. It absolutely worked.
It was a little slow. It's a hot Florida day. Mm-hmm. And so when it gets hot like that, the fish get a little more finicky, a little more lethargic. really didn't have much practice out there. So usually if you're doing a tournament, you want to get out there a few days ahead of time and kind of figure out where you want to go. And I did go out on Monday with somebody, and we didn't get a bite. And this guy knows this lake, so that kind of tells you what we were up against. And so I didn't know how our tournament was going to go because I had nothing to go by.
Right.
But I had an area in mind where I wanted to start, and since it was only a 4-hour tournament, I didn't want to be moving around the lake.
Right, wasting time.
Yeah, Toho's a big lake. There's a lot of different places you can run, but you're burning 20 minutes in between, and that's time your line's not in the water.
Right.
And it's also a very, very grassy lake. So Tuesday morning of the tournament was the very first time my boat even touched the water there. So I hadn't driven a boat on Toho myself. And so it was a little bit intimidating just because it's a super shallow lake.
Honey, you handled it.
Grass.
It doesn't look like it intimidated you whatsoever. You cut through the grass, the lily pads, and I'm like, look at Ange. Yes, you did that.
Yeah, and, so we both kind of had knots in our stomach in the morning.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So we had to get there at 5 a.m. was registration, get everything set up, our gear set up on the boat, ready to go, pitch dark out still. Got in the water, had to wait for the meeting. So there's this whole kind of progression of events.
Just a routine of the signing in, it was the meeting, then it was prayer, and then national anthem, and after that, I really liked the way that they had the boats situated where they were grouped. 1 through 23, then 24 through 46. It was such a smooth launch. Nobody got really in anybody's way. Everybody was cordial on the water, and I had heard so many bad things about bass fishing tournaments and how not so nice people can be. Didn't run into any of that. People were extremely kind. They were respectful. Nobody really got up in our area. And that's what I was so surprised, because and I'm not beating up on men, but sometimes men feel that they can do that. They can encroach on your area. And if they feel or see you catching something, they're like, let me get a little closer to see what they're throwing. Yeah, no, we didn't have any of that. And I was so happy.
Yeah.
So happy.
So when we got to the spot I planned on starting at, there was already a boat there. And so we started several distance down from them as to not get in their area. I very quickly realized that it was a guide boat, and they were fishing for bass with live shiners.
Right.
And that's not allowed in our tournament. So
no live bait.
Right away in this area, we're kind of at a bit of a disadvantage because these bass have these, big, nice live shiners they can go after. And we're fishing with plastics and hard baits and that are not alive. But we gave it our best. We couldn't get any to come up on top water, unfortunately. That was kind of what we were banking on.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't happening. We tried.
Yeah, I threw the frog for probably about 10 minutes. Got rid of the frog, put the worm on, and the worm worked.
Yeah, we were getting bites.
Yeah, the worm worked.
And I tried spinnerbait, chatterbait, just to see. I threw a rattle trap a little bit. Tons of grass, and so you get hung up in weeds a lot. So we both kind of went to the weedless Texas rigged speed worm. Threw that for quite a while because we were getting bites. And then that guide left, and we gave it some time. And I started thinking, let's go back over there.
Yes,
because maybe he's got these fish primed up, ready to go.
Pumped.
I put on the Wacky Rig Cinco weedless on a weedless jig head, and very quickly put 2 keepers in the boat.
Yes,
So,
yes.
And
Good
Janine had
keeper.
already got hers on the speed worm.
Yes.
Just unfortunately wasn't quite big enough.
It wasn't
to
big
keep.
enough.
But
I was still happy. I caught a fish.
Yeah.
I didn't get skunked.
yeah, that's the big thing. You don't want to get skunked. We got to cross the stage.
Yes, we did. And that was my first time. And when I tell you, as many times as I've seen it on TV, I never saw myself there. Never, ever. I watch the bass tournaments faithfully. I watch all kind of fishing tournaments faithful, and I never see myself doing that. And having this behind me, I told you guys that are listening. I told Angie, I told her, don't make me like it. I said, please don't make me like bass fishing. She made me like it, y'all. And now I'm going to have to, I fish mostly saltwater, but now I'm going to have to go back and revisit bass fishing because we have lots of fresh water everywhere because you're going to have to come to Texas and fish the Guadalupe River because we have a specific bass that's only found in the Guadalupe River, and it's the Guadalupe bass.
Okay.
It is a very sought after bass. They come from everywhere just to catch it because it's not anywhere else. Wow. It's only in the Texas fresh waterway. Don't ask me why, but yeah.
Very cool. I'll have to do that. My best friend lives in just south of Houston.
Okay.
So, yeah, I haven't seen her in years, so that would
Time
just give me
for a
an
visit.
extra excuse to come.
Absolutely.
So that would be so much fun. Well, yeah, you got to get into bass fishing now because we got to prepare for the iCast Cup 2024. We're going to win.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are, y'all. Yes, we are.
Come back and win the thing.
Yes, we are.
But congratulations to the other all-female teams that were out there. They all did really great. Rhonda Pitts and Emily Freeman, I believe, won for the women's side.
So now they go on to the next.
Yep, they qualified to fish the Pan American Black Bass Championship with Team USA. So shout out to those ladies. Congratulations. Man. I know Denise Estrada and her partner did very well.
Yeah, they came in second.
Brought in some really nice fish. I think... Is there two other all-female teams?
It was,
I know Beth and Lori, they brought in one fish, but it was a nice fish that ended up just outweighing our two.
Yeah, and they were in third? I think they came in either third or fourth.
Right. I think we're missing another team, But anyway, it was super fun. It's great to see some ladies out there. Hopefully we'll have more teams next year.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
that's what that was one thing that surprised me was the number of boats that was there. I guess just watching the bass tournaments and watching the launch after the national anthem, there were boats, seemed like it would be boats for miles. And this tournament, we only had 46 boats, which I was really, really surprised that it wasn't more that were fishing the cup.
In years past, it's been more like 50 to 60 boats.
50 to 60, okay.
And I think maybe this year, just because the economy and everything's a little weird, people are probably saving their money.
Gotcha.
I don't know. That's just my guess as to why it was a little lower. The proceeds for this tournament go to Keep America Fishing, so it's for a good cause.
Yes, it is.
There's no big cash prize for winning. It's a trophy and bragging rights, basically.
Sometimes that outweighs the money. You're just knowing that you've accomplished something of that magnitude.
Right.
I can't even imagine catching a 5-pound bass. I'd probably lay down in that boat and just cry. Just cry. Thank you, Lord. Thank you,
awesome.
Lord.
It's a great experience. I've had one over 5 pounds, and it's an amazing feeling to do that. And what was the biggest fish? Do you remember? Wasn't it
like 15?
12 pounds, I think it was.
It was a guy after the 12-pound
Oh,
guy.
really?
Yes. because his whole thing was like 20 plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, his one bass,
3 fish limit.
it was almost 15. I think it was like 14 and some change. I can't remember exactly, but
Massive.
yeah.
Massive
Yeah.
fish. So there are fish.
It's a big fish in Toho.
We'll have to find them next year.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. We'll come out a couple of days early.
Yep. We'll
Get some fishing in.
practice in.
Mhm.
Yep. We'll do it right next time. But it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed fishing with
Oh, you are the best. You are the best. You were patient. You didn't fuss at me for making mistakes.
Hey, and you netted both my fish like a champ, so thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. You're welcome. I didn't want to take it out because even though I can, I was just like, I'm going to let her take it out because if that fish fall in the water, that's going to be on her.
Right.
Not on me.
Exactly. Very cool. Well, it was a great day. We got off the water just in time before the big storm.
Oh my gosh, the storm was just brewing.
Yes.
I mean, literally, we were minutes before that. The thunder and the dark clouds came. I said,
it was, we got the cover on the boat right as the rain started coming
wow,
down.
that was crazy. That was crazy. And you called it. You absolutely called it. Y'all, Angie don't let her fool you. She's the weather girl. She took a look at the weather before we went out and she was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to rain while we're on the water, but by the time we get back, it'll probably be raining. Sure enough, as soon as the last people were crossing the stage and we brought the boat in, here comes the rain. Yep. Right on time, on time.
So lucked out there for sure, because I would not have wanted to be out on the water when that came over. Lightning, thunder, the whole deal. So wind. So let's talk real quick. This is your first iCast experience. So I know you had a pretty exciting morning yesterday. Tell listeners just a little bit about that.
Okay, yesterday morning, my morning began with a breakfast that I was not invited to.
That's right.
But anyway, I ended up getting into the breakfast, and when the doors opened, it was like going to Disney. Fishing Disney. I mean, because it was it was just buzzing with reels and rods and buckets and tackle and everything that you would need for fishing, for boating, for anything is here at iCast. I have never seen so many different vendors. I have never seen so many different types of plastics and lures and rod companies I thought I was pretty familiar with, but iCast will make you check yourself, because I promise you there were several rod companies that I had not heard of, and amazing products, absolutely amazing products. I ended up meeting Jimmy Houston. I met Roland Martin, and oh my gosh, I got to meet Toby Keith.
So for those that didn't hear, Toby Keith bought Lucky Strike Lure Company.
Yes, he did.
So they have a booth here, and Toby himself is here with his daughter, Crystal. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping to have Crystal on the show at some point.
She said that she would love it.
Yeah, this new venture. But yeah, pretty cool to meet a country music superstar at iCast.
Yes, and I mean, that was something that I was not planning on. I knew that they would maybe be here, but it wasn't anything that I was looking for. I was really just trying to soak up all these different products, because it is truly like being a kid in a candy store. But being able to see these legends, these absolute legends, taking a picture with them, just being able to say, man, I used to watch your shows. Thank you for encouraging me as a kid to get out there and fish. I may not have caught a bass or whatever, but I was catching brim.
Right. Yeah.
But it was all because I watched Jimmy Houston, Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Virgil Ward. People really haven't heard of a lot of these folks, but these are my idols. These are the people that meant a lot to me and meant a lot to my uncle that has now passed away, my Uncle John. My whole life of fishing is dedicated to him because he was the one that introduced me, molded me, encouraged me, and just supported me in every endeavor I ever had. He was like, you can do it. Do it. Just do it. And I know that he is proud of me. I know he's proud of me.
I'm sure he's proud of you for fishing the iCast Cup, too.
Yes,
because,
yes.
I get nervous before every tournament. I mean, it's always challenging yourself every time you go out there to compete because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
You know, you want to do really well, but sometimes it doesn't go your way, you know, and it's just you put a lot of pressure on yourself. So kudos to you for doing it, and I'm sure he'd be proud of you for that.
Oh, he would, because he would not let me. If he was here and I told him that I was having cold feet, he would have driven to my house and drove me here. He would not have had me backing out or doubting myself. He was just that type of man. So I'm just glad that I had the opportunity to fish it.
I'm glad you did too, because we had a ball. So last night, the women's event. What'd you think of that?
That was so nice. It was a breath of fresh air because we're here with men. We're here with a boatload of men, and we see you and I being in the industry and you have your podcast and I have Fishanistas. A lot of these women we see on social media, and we never really we'll say something, inbox each other every now and again, but it's never been a face-to-face. Being able to meet a lot of these amazing women, these amazing angler, boat captains, all of this that work in the industry, just being able to be in their presence, it was absolutely wonderful. And it was so casual and so comfortable. I didn't feel like I didn't belong. Because you know how sometimes you can go places and you're just like, just let the time hurry up. I was so tired, but I did not want to go because it was just fun. It was absolute fun. Everybody had smiles on their face. Nobody was bitter or sour. And that just shows you the strength, the tenacity, the love of women. We rock. We rock.
I forget how Debbie Hansen worded it when she spoke on behalf of Montauk, which was one of the sponsors of last night's event. I'll give a shout out to the sponsors as well, St. Croix Rods, Costa Sunglasses, Native Watercraft. They all stepped in to help make that event financially happen because somebody has to pay for the space and the food and the drinks. But Debbie said something about look around this room, like we all lift each other up, and that's, what makes...
But that's what it's all about. And that's why women are so different in the industry. And you're going to see a whole lot of women just surpassing the men. They are just going to... They're going to fly. I'm serious because we have, as women, we ground ourselves in each other. When I know that I'm having a rough time, I can't understand a knot, I know I can call one of the ladies in my group. And I'm like, I'm so frustrated. I can't get the polymer knot. This is one of the most famous knots. I'm like, am I just that mentally incapable of learning how to tie this knot? I can tie just about every other knot. But that's a whole nother rabbit trail. But my goodness, we do. We encourage each other. We love each other. And women are going to rock it out. Just wait. Just wait.
Next year, I hope, we do it again. Shout out to BB Harrison. She really spearheaded all that. Myself, Debbie Hansen, and Dee Kaminsky. There are probably a couple other ladies that were involved, but hopefully we can come together again and make it even bigger, because there were ladies, even though we upped the capacity from 80 to 100, there was still a wait list, so there were still some ladies that wanted to get in or found out about it, when they got here and hadn't already registered, so they had to be on a wait list. So, next year, hopefully we find an even bigger space, maybe, if we can't still, expand at Maggiano's. So
that was nice. It was just so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, the food was delicious. The bartending, the staff was, everything was just phenomenal.
We had a signature cocktail that I think Phoebe came
the tax
up with.
man.
The tax man. That was pretty cute. It was a little blue drink, and then you got a little toy shark that was like a squirt bottle that you would squirt, and it kind of made it look like blood.
Yes,
So
yes.
it was pretty clever.
That was very, very clever, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
It was delicious. Yeah.
Well, so I want to talk about Fishanistas before we run out of time, because that's your group. I know we kind of had you on the show before and talked about it and everything, but for those that maybe didn't hear that episode, talk about your group, how you kind of started it, and why it's so important.
Sure. Fishanistas started in 2009. It started with kids in my church, teaching Sunday school, showing the kids the pictures. That's how it kind of started. They would say, "Miss Janine, when are you going to take us fishing?" And took them fishing. We had mostly girls that wanted to participate, and that says something right there. So we had to find a name that was so fitting for our young ladies that wanted to fish. So that's how we came up with the name Fishanistas. As a group, since it started in 2009, of course it's going to morph into different things because everything has to change. Right. We still do our kids clinics. We are just a group of women who subscribe to the passion of fishing. We uplift, encourage, support, restore each other, and we allow the water to bring us peace. We allow the water to bring us food, to sustain us. We're just a big old group of women that love to fish, talk junk. So if you're interested in joining, look us up on Facebook, Fishanistas, and we would be more than happy to have you in the group so you can share your photos. And a lot of times women who are in the group, they were like, "Oh my gosh, I just wanted somebody to fish with." And now they found somebody that was in the group. Oh my gosh, we're neighbors. So a lot of it just works out perfectly, but we're just here to teach women, encourage women. Even I have issues with confidence. That was my word for this morning.
Mine too.
Yes, because I find myself just like with the bass tournament. I found myself doubting myself, like, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? And I'm like, I can do this. Just having to pump myself up, but having that support behind you. I was getting text messages. "You got this. You got this. I know you're worried, but I know you got this." And that made all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. So women, we need each other. We need each other. So find you a group. If you're not in Fishanistas, find a group. Get connected in your area. You'll be surprised of the friendships and relationships that come from just being on the water together.
It makes all the difference in the world to have that support system. If you're just out there by yourself, I mean, that can be tough. So
very tough.
It's good to have people that you can bounce things off of, learn things from, and just support each other.
Right.
We'll put a link to the Fishanistas Facebook in the show notes for this episode. Do you guys have anything upcoming that you want to
Yes, we do. We have our women's clinic coming up July 29th at Highlands Bayou in Lamarck, Texas. We also have our meet and greet. Our first meet and greet, our first real meet and greet. That's going to be in October. We chose October because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are actually doing a tournament. It's called Tatas for TT. And the just quick story behind that, my cousin, Jaren Sorrells, passed away from breast cancer in 2021. She was not just my cousin. She was my sister. We called her TT because the girls felt she was their aunt. That's all that they knew as an aunt was TT. So we're doing the tournament Tatas for TT. If you are wanting to sponsor or donate baskets or anything for the raffles, please feel free to contact me. Angie has my information. She'll put it up on the podcast, please.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those are the two things that we have coming up for 23, and for 24 we have 3 trips that we're planning: Alaska, Puerto Vallarta, and Costa Rica.
Wow. Very cool. Exciting stuff.
Yes. Very exciting.
Well, thanks.
Very exciting.
Hey, that's what, sometimes you gotta go out on a limb, and
Yes.
those are the best experiences. So, well, I'm so glad you're here. Enjoy the rest of the show. Safe travels back home. And I'll look forward to hopefully getting to fish with you down in Texas.
Absolutely. Yes, come on down.
And we're going to crush it again.
Yes, we are. Next year, oh, baby. Y'all better be ready for the headline.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure chatting with you, and we will stay in touch.
All right.